Hi everyone, welcome back. I want to talk to you today about oracle cards and, starting out using them and using them as guidance for questions you may have for yourself. And I often get asked, what is the difference between oracle cards and tarot cards, and which is better if I'm starting out or starting to use cards? And I always tell people, if you're using them on yourself and just asking for guidance or starting out, I always recommend to use oracle cards. Start with oracle cards. Oracle cards are easier to use if you're starting out, whereas tarot cards, they're more structured and they're more in depth, and they're based on major arcanas and minor arcanas. So that would be like major life events and just day-to-day life events, whereas oracle cards are a little bit easier to use, especially if you're only starting out or using them for guidance, just for yourself, or if you're new to readings and tarot cards and oracle cards. I find oracle cards are the best type if you're starting out. So oracle cards tend to be smaller decks, so generally they have like 44 cards, and this Archangel one here is lovely by Diana Cooper, and they have 44 cards in them. And then I have these energy oracle cards, and they have 53 cards, whereas tarot cards, there's more to it. I have a tarot card deck here, and this is like, it's a bigger deck. So these have 78 cards in them, and they're based on major arcanas and minor arcanas. So if you're starting out, they're a little bit harder to use, and it's better if you start with the oracle cards. And generally, if you like, I would never do a reading on myself, but I do use them all the time and use them every day and ask for guidance. So when you first receive your deck, whatever it may be, it's not to say you can't start with a tarot card deck, but I just find it's easier if you're starting out, start with an oracle card deck. And it's more for angel like guidance, and just to ask your guides, what do I need to hear today? Or it's easier if you're starting out. So, and generally it's always really good to cleanse your cards. So when you receive a new deck, it's always really good to cleanse it, because you don't know who's been handling those before you, and their energy is going to be on the card. So it's really important that as soon as you receive a deck, that you go through each card individually and just touch it yourself and just cleanse the energy. And so it's your energy just on the cards, and then just hold them in your hand and just knock them, just tap them, and you can shuffle them then, and you will know when is the right time to stop shuffling. So you will either hear that voice in your head saying stop, or you'll just get the urge to stop shuffling. And it's a really good, oracle cards are really good to just use if you're looking for that just one card guidance for yourself. And generally they're really easy to, you use your intuition when reading the cards. And it generally, like, you get the guidebook. So the guidebook here, so like, it's really good to actually, you can read the guidebook. Generally I don't, because that's just the interpretation of the author, and it's really important to follow your own intuition. And generally with oracle cards, it's quite easy to use, and it's quite easy to understand the messages that you're getting, and just the illustration in them is absolutely amazing. And generally, like, it's really, like, this card here, like, generally rainbows in a deck represents, the storm has passed, brighter times are ahead. And generally, like, you can go through them and just look and kind of see what you pick up on them yourself and what messages you get from each card. And, you know, if you are only starting off, you can absolutely use the guidebook, because it's a really good way to start. And just, you know, as you read the guidebook, then the more that will come to you. But it's really important to make sure you're trusting your intuition with the cards, because your intuition is what is telling you, you know, that's the messages you're receiving from your guides, from your angels, from the universe. And it's just like this one here, for example, Goddess of the Moon. So this is a really beautiful card if you were to pull it for yourself, and ask, you know what I mean? So just make sure you tap on the card and say, what message do I need to hear, angels, guides, universe? And say, for example, you got the Goddess of the Moon. That's all about, like, you know, trusting your intuition. You're a really good card to get if you're trying to manifest anything into your life. And, you know, absolutely read the guidebook if you're starting off, and it's all about your own intuition. Like, what do you get from the card as well? It's really important that, you know, you're trusting your intuition. And that's why I say I'd never read cards for myself unless it's just for a one card guidance, because that ego kicks in. Do you know what I mean? It's really difficult, obviously, to you know, between your ego and your intuition when it's for yourself, because it's like, okay, well, I already know what's going on in my life. Do you know what I mean? So it is really important when you're doing, you know, if you're pulling a card, and practice on friends and family, practice on yourself. And, you know, the more you do it and the more you look at the cards and look at the illustrations, I mean, you know, it will come to you. And it's really important that you're trusting your intuition, because that is the guidance that you are getting from your guides, from your angels, from the universe. And the more you kind of do it and the more practice you do, the easier it is, and the easier it will be for you to understand the cards and get that guidance. And generally it is, you know, it's a really good to pull one maybe every day. Just tap on the cards, shuffle them, and ask, okay, angels, guides, universe, what message do I need to hear today? And as soon as you get that urge to stop shuffling, pull the top card, and that is the card that's meant for you. And generally, as I say, like, it's just all about, like, guidance, trusting your intuition. I mean, if you're for example to pull the card and there was a sun in it, that's all about, like, you know, new beginnings, a new you, new journey. Rainbow is like the storm has passed, brighter times are ahead. There has to be a rainbow at the end of every storm. And then bright lights, I mean, orbs, that's all telling you that your angels are there, your loved ones are there, they're guiding you and they want to help you. And it is a really good thing to just, you know, familiarize yourself with the guidebook, familiarize yourself with the cards, and trust your intuition. So that's the oracle cards. The tarot cards then are, as I say, they're a little bit more structured, and a little bit harder, I suppose, to use if you are only starting off. And I will talk about the tarot cards at a later time, more in detail. But I always tell people, if you're starting off, start off with an oracle card deck. And there is so many fabulous oracle card decks out there to start off with. I mean, I absolutely love this energy oracle card. I use this all the time. Or you can get, like, angel oracle cards, which would be something like that there. And they're just so beautiful. I mean, I'll show you these ones here, and like the other ones I just showed you, you know, the illustrations on them are absolutely fantastic. They're so, like, all about your angels, but that would be similar then to the other oracle cards that I showed you. But I always recommend if you're starting off, if you're just using it to pull cards for yourself, looking for that guidance, I definitely recommend starting with the oracle cards. So I hope you found that useful, and thank you so much for watching. And if you do have oracle cards, if you do use them, let me know in the comments.